When my wife, Claire, started her new job at a marketing firm downtown, she was glowing with excitement. She'd been home for years, raising our daughter and helping me with my small repair business. When the opportunity came, I encouraged her to take it. She deserved something of her own. First, everything seemed fine. She'd talk about her new coworkers, the open office with glass walls, and her manager, Richard, a man in his mid-40s who, according to her, really believed in her potential. I was happy for her, proud even. But then, the tone of her stories began to change. Richard was suddenly everywhere. He texted her late at night about urgent deadlines, invited her to coffee on weekends to brainstorm, and started showing up in her photos from office events. I brushed it off at first, telling myself not to be insecure. But deep down, something felt off. Claire was changing, dressing differently, laughing at messages she'd quickly lock her phone to hide, and growing distant in ways that silence could no longer cover. One Friday night, she came home looking upset. When I asked what was wrong, she said, "Richard's wife filed for divorce. Everyone at the office is talking about it." Then she added softly, "He's not taking it well." The way she said it made my stomach twist. There was pity in her voice, concern that didn't belong to an employee. Over the next few weeks, the emotional distance widened. She'd come home later and later, claiming meetings ran long. I tried to be understanding, but something inside me knew we were slipping into a place we might not return from. Then came the company's annual gala. She told me spouses weren't invited this year due to budget reasons, but a coworker's husband posted photos that night on Facebook, him, his wife, and in the background, Claire in a red dress, standing next to Richard. His hand was too familiar on her back. The caption read, "Great night with the team." I didn't confront her that night. Instead, I waited. Sometimes silence tells you more than words ever could. The next morning, she was all smiles, acting as if everything was perfectly normal. But the illusion shattered when her phone lit up on the counter while she was in the shower. The preview of a message from Richard read, "Still can't stop thinking about last night. You're mine now." I remember standing there, staring at those words until the letters blurred. My hands shook, not from anger, but from the realization that everything I'd ignored had led here. When she walked out of the bathroom, towel around her, humming softly, she froze seeing my face. "Who is he to say that you're his?" I asked, holding up her phone. She went pale, her lips parting but no sound coming out. Then, the excuses began. "It's not what it looks like. He's going through a rough time. I didn't want to tell you because you'd get angry." Every word dug the knife deeper. I didn't shout. I didn't cry. I just said, "You need to handle this, Claire. Today." That afternoon, she promised to end it, to set boundaries and make things right. I wanted to believe her, so I gave her space. But that night, as I sat outside our house, I saw Richard's silver Mercedes pull up to our driveway. He got out, straightened his suit, and walked right up to my door. When I opened it, he smirked like he was walking into his own home. "You must be James," he said, his tone dripping arrogance. "I think you should know, Claire and I have something real. She belongs to me now." The words hit like acid. But instead of reacting, I smiled, calm, controlled, because I had been waiting for that moment. I stood there for a moment, letting his arrogance hang in the air. Claire appeared behind him, frozen at the sight of me standing calmly, arms crossed, her face drained of color. Richard turned, clearly expecting her to rush to his side, but she just whispered, "Richard, what are you doing here?" "What am I doing here?" he said with a grin that made my jaw tighten. "I'm claiming what's mine. You said you were done living a boring life. Remember?" I didn't flinch. Instead, I stepped aside and gestured toward the living room. "By all means," I said. "Let's talk like adults." He looked confused for a second, then strutted inside, still smirking. Claire followed, trembling. I closed the door quietly behind them. The house was silent except for the ticking of the clock on the wall. Richard glanced around and chuckled. "Cozy little place you've got here, James. But you should know she's not happy here. She deserves better." "I'm sure she does," I replied evenly. Tell me, Richard, does your HR department know you sleep with your subordinates? Or that you show up at their homes, claiming ownership? His grin faltered just slightly. Claire gasped. James, please. No, I said firmly. Let him answer. He straightened his shoulders, feigning confidence. You can't threaten me. You think anyone would take your word over mine? I leaned forward. Oh, I don't need to say a word. The company's board can listen to your own. He blinked. What? I tapped my phone and played a recording. His voice from the porch just minutes earlier. Clear, arrogant, and unmistakably damning. She belongs to me now. His face went white. Claire covered her mouth. You see, I said quietly, I wasn't sure how far things had gone, but now I have proof that you, her superior, showed up at her house, uninvited, making inappropriate claims. That's not just unethical. It's a career-ending offense. He stammered. You can't. You wouldn't. I already did. I interrupted. I emailed the audio and screenshots of your messages to the company's HR and legal departments an hour ago. They time-stamped the report. You should expect a call first thing Monday morning. The confidence drained out of him like air from a punctured tire. He looked at Claire, desperate. You told him? She shook her head, tears forming. No, I didn't tell him anything. I didn't need her to, I said calmly. You did that yourself. Richard's composure collapsed. He muttered something under his breath and stormed toward the door, slamming it behind him. The echo hung heavy in the room. For a moment there was silence, just the sound of Claire sobbing softly near the window. I turned toward her. James, I'm so sorry, she whispered. I didn't know how to stop it. He pressured me, and I was afraid if I told you, you'd leave me. I took a deep breath. You should have trusted me, Claire. That's all I ever wanted. I'll fix this, she said desperately. I'll quit my job. I'll do whatever it takes. But something inside me had shifted. I wasn't angry anymore. I was just done. The kind of done that doesn't come with shouting or tears, just clarity. I'm not going to tell you what to do, I said quietly. You make your own choices now. But I need time to figure out if there's anything left to save. She nodded, wiping her eyes, realizing this wasn't a threat. It was a goodbye waiting in slow motion. The next morning, Richard's downfall was everywhere. His company suspended him pending investigation. Word spread fast. By noon, his LinkedIn was wiped clean. By evening, he was trending locally for inappropriate conduct with an employee. I didn't post anything, didn't comment, didn't celebrate. I just sat on the porch, coffee in hand, watching the sun fade behind the trees. Claire came outside, standing beside me without saying a word. The silence between us wasn't the same as before. It wasn't neglect anymore. It was the quiet after a storm, the kind that forces you to look at what's still standing. I didn't know what our future would be, but one thing was certain: no man, no matter how powerful, would ever again mistake kindness for weakness. And as for Richard, he learned, in the harshest way possible, that when you claim someone who isn't yours, you eventually choke on your own words.